Hey there, Tom here from the Run Testers. In this video I'm going to be doing a comparison of the New Balance More V5 and the Brooks Glycerin Max. Let's take a look. The New Balance More V5 costs £140 or $154.99. It weighs 306 grams or 10.8 ounces for men in a size 8 and the drop is 4mm. The Brooks Glycerin Max costs £180 or $200. It weighs 313 grams or 11 ounces for men in a size 8 and the drop is 6mm. The fifth version of New Balance's Max Cushion shoe receives a number of updates aiming to improve on the popular V4. The biggest of those is a new midsole composition using the same soft foam found in the 1080 B13 and a slightly increased stack height. To counter the updates, there's a noticeably wide base to ensure plenty of stability in the shoe. The More V5 also sees modifications to the engineered mesh upper design to improve both the breathability of the shoe and the padding around the ankle, collar and tongue, and the outsole sees a complete overhaul, with less rubber coverage which does leave more exposed sections of the midsole. The More V5 also comes in 3 different width sizes. The Brooks Glycerin Max takes the fundamentals of the popular glycerin line and beefs up the midsole with the brand's newest foam, DNA Tuned. Made from dual cell technology, DNA Tuned is a nitrogen-infused foam made up of large cells in the heel to provide soft, comfortable landings, with smaller cells in the forefoot to promote a responsive toe-off. That midsole combines with Brooks' noticeable glide roll rocker that pushes the foot forward to promote a smooth heel-to-toe transition. There's also a thick rubber outsole to both protect the midsole foam and deliver a high level of grip, as well as a plush engineered mesh upper to ensure plenty of comfort for a variety of runs. Okay, the fit for me in both of these shoes, I'm a size 8 in the UK. I would say that the fit in both of these is very similar. There's plenty of space in the forefoot. There's plenty of space before the big toe in both of these shoes and at the side of the forefoot. I have fairly average width feet and I found these to be very, very comfortable. There's a similar level of padding around the shoe in both of these. The tongue is very good. The ankle collar has loads of padding in both options, and I would definitely stay to my size in both of these shoes. Lockdown I've had no issue with in both of these either. Once you put them on and you tie up the laces, very, very comfortable, and yeah, no issues at all. Stay to your size in both of these shoes. Okay, so these are 2 shoes that you're going to be looking at if you want a shoe with loads of cushioning in it. Specifically for those easier days, those recovery runs, maybe those longer sessions where you're just going out and you want to tick off a lot of miles in comfort and you want the shoe to take the brunt of the impact of the ground. They are quite similar in a lot of ways. In fact, the best way for me to explain this would probably be to say that the Brooks Glycerin Max reminds me of a similar ride to the New Balance More V4. The New Balance More V4 and the More V3 are 2 of my favourite shoes of all time when it comes to easy days, longer sessions at comfortable pace, those sorts of runs. If you're a fan of the channel, you know I bang on about those shoes all the time, so I've been very excited about getting the New Balance More V5. The Brooks Glycerin Max, I've been doing about 70k in this shoe so far, and over the course of those runs, it's reminded me a lot of the New Balance More V4. It's got this really wide base in it. It's got a really balanced midsole. It's not the softest midsole in the world, so it makes it a very accessible cushioned shoe for a lot of people. Sometimes max cushion shoes can be too soft for some people. It makes them not very versatile, but also some people just don't like really soft shoes because it can feel like it's sapping the effort you're putting into the run. The Glycerin Max doesn't do that. It's very balanced. It's got just this really nice midsole, a little bit of energy return in it, definitely a little bit of softness in it, so it's very, very comfortable to run in. But it's also got this really wide base as well, which means that it's a very stable shoe in addition. So it's a great all-round cushioned cruiser, especially if you're the sort of runner that wants a lot of cushioning, but also wants it to be fairly balanced and safe to run in as well. There are max cushion shoes that have a lot of cushioning in, but they don't have a lot of width on the base, so they can be a bit wobbly and lose a bit of stability. Brooks Glycerin Max doesn't do that. It's a really, really great shoe if you're just looking for an all-round solid workhorse comfortable shoe where comfort is really at the core of what you're doing. So it reminds me very much of the More V4, which is exactly all the things I would have said about the More V4 in it. There were the reasons why it was one of my favourite shoes. Also, the More V4 had a lovely turnover as well. So because of that midsole foam being quite balanced, it wasn't sapping your energy and it sort of ticked you over nicely and you could do easy runs and longer sessions at a comfortable pace, and it was fantastic. Glycerin Max, very similar. I would put it down as being a very, very comparable shoe to the New Balance More V4. New Balance More V5 is similar to the More V4, but it is a bit softer than the More V4. So it has the same midsole foam that is used in the 1080 V13, which is a radically softer midsole foam than what you get in the earlier versions, the V12, V11 of the 1080 range. But in the More V5, it's not as soft as in the 1080 V13, presumably because there's more of it in there, so it's a little bit denser and there's a bit more to the midsole foam, so it doesn't squish as much as the 1080 V13. As a result, you get a very similar ride to the More V4, but with just a little bit more bounce and a little bit of additional softness to the ride, but not too much, not to the point where it would upset people who were used to the More V4 and they didn't want to go all the way with a really soft shoe. So you get a little bit of an added benefit of that midsole foam, but you still get a really wide base on it, a very similar ride to the More V4. And it is an incredibly comfortable shoe. I look forward to this shoe being released for a very long time, and I was a little bit worried that by changing the foam it wouldn't be my favourite cushion shoe anymore. But in all the testing I've done so far, I've done about 70k of testing it, and that has been across a range of different runs. It's really impressed me, and is a nice progression of the More V4. So really, the difference between these two shoes, I think, just comes down to that little bit of extra softness that you get in the More V5. Neither of these shoes is particularly versatile. I have done an interval session. I've done interval sessions in both of these shoes now, and I would say that the More V5 is actually a little bit better for me at interval session, just because you get a little bit more injury return from that midsole foam. It's not. I won't be using it for many interval sessions. It's not a shoe that's designed for that. But today I just wanted to see what it felt like on it, and yeah, it just felt like it had a little bit more energy return for me than the Glycerin Max. But the Glycerin Max is still a pretty responsive shoe as well. So they're pretty similar in what you're getting in every way, really. I mean, the comfort level of it really comes down to that slightly softer foam in the More V5. I think the More V5 is better for easy runs. But I think once you start going to those sort of consistent efforts where you may be running half marathons up to like marathon training sessions at a nice consistent pace, you're going to get a pretty similar benefits from both of these shoes. Other thing I'd say about these is the outsole on the Glycerin Max, far superior to the More V5. It's just got a really nice layer of rubber on it, and it just has been doing a great job for me. I've been running a lot on wet public footpaths and things like that, gravel paths, stuff like that at the moment, and it's just done a really good job at just gripping onto those with this really solid, thick outsole rubber. More V5's got an alright layer of rubber on it, but it does have quite a lot of exposed midsole in it. In 70k, on some pretty bad ground that I've been running on recently, there are no signs of issues with durability on this midsole, even on this exposed section. So solid outsole. I've not found it to be have any issues with it, but it's not as grippy for me as the Brooks Glycerin Max. Okay, so my verdict on these two shoes, I think both of these shoes are firmly in the world of easy runs, recovery runs, and maybe longer sessions where you just want something for comfort. I think there's not a lot in it between these two shoes. I think you're going to be happy if you want this. That's what you're looking for in a shoe. I think you're going to be happy with both of these shoes. They're both solid, comfortable max cushion shoes that really do offer the benefits of max cushioning. The foams in both of them are quite nicely balanced. You definitely notice a good level of softness in both of them. So it's quite a tricky one to choose between these two shoes. I think really it comes down to the More V5 is probably slightly softer for me than the Glycerin Max. Not massively, but just enough for me to think it's just better for easy runs. And I think that the transition in the shoe is just a little bit more enjoyable for me, having done longer distances in both of these shoes. So if it's down to me, I am picking the New Balance More V5. It's also a bit cheaper as well. But I think the Glycerin Max is a fantastic shoe as well. If the Glycerin Max had come out at the same time as the More V4, I'd have a major problem choosing between this shoe and the More V4. I think they're very similar in what they're delivering. I just really like the updates on the More V5, so I think the More V5 is the better option out of these two at the moment. But equally, if you're looking for a shoe that maybe isn't as soft as the More V5, you're probably gonna go for the Glycerin Max, just because it's just a little bit more balanced for me in the midsole. But both are very stable, both very comfortable, Really like both of these shoes, so it's a really tough one to choose between, but I'm going to go for the More V5 on this one. That's it from me on this Versus. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, click that little bell. If you're going to catch them below, you find it to our podcast, which comes out a couple of times each month. Thanks a lot for watching. Catch you next time.